Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Remi. Thanks for tuning in. I am filming from Boston, Massachusetts. If you're new here, welcome. If you've seen my previous videos, welcome back. So on my channel, I film about faith, lifestyle, and development. So if you're interested in any of those things, please watch, like, comment, and subscribe. So for this video, I will be talking about women empowerment. And women empowerment is such a broad topic. It's such a huge topic, and there's a lot that goes into that topic that we cannot obviously fit into a 10 or 15-minute video, right? But it's okay to get the conversation started. Let's just talk about it. Let's talk about issues that women face. Let's talk about some of the discrimination that women face. So what inspired this was, actually, before we go to that, let's see what Google has to say about women empowerment. Let's see the definition that Google has for women empowerment. It says, women empowerment is the process in which women elaborate and recreate what it is they can be, do, and accomplish in a circumstance that they previously were denied. So what had inspired this was, I've seen a lot of things. I've heard a lot of things. I've even witnessed a lot of things that women face, a lot of issues that women face. And growing up, I've always been the one to say, well, why do I have to be treated a certain way because I'm a woman? Why should I be subjected to certain cultural demands because I'm a woman? Why am I being discriminated against because I'm a woman? Why am I limited? Why do people have to feel like they can limit me as to what I can do or what I should be because I'm a woman? So I've always been passionate about women empowerment, and I know that we celebrated Women's History Month in the month of March and International Women's Day, and I spoke up on my post on Instagram about the whole idea of International Women's Day and what that means and what that should be doing to the status of women going forward. So I'll try to insert a picture to, show you my post and what I talked about on International Women's Day. But that's just one day in the year, right? That's just, Women's Month is just 1 month in the year. Technically, every month is Women's History Month. So, but it's a good way to make us more aware. It's a good way to promote the values that we are pushing to promote as women. And I think it's a great way to start and to have the conversation and, get the conversation started. So I have some things down on my phone that I wrote down that I'd like to discuss. I actually just came back from an event. I went to the Ida B. Wells afternoon tea event here in Boston, and I came back and I'm like, you know what? I was so inspired at that event, and I said I was going to film a video when I get home and just talk about women's issues and how we can motivate, inspire, and encourage, empower one another. So let's see. One of the main things that was talked about at the event is that you are not a stereotype. I am not a stereotype. You know what I mean? I feel like over the years, society has placed a stereotype on women for the longest time. And it's become so normal, it's a problem that people don't even see what's wrong with it anymore. So for example, you hear a lot of things like, oh, you're a woman, you probably should get married at a certain age. You probably want to have kids at a certain age. And if you don't, something is wrong with you. If you don't get married at a certain age, you have a problem. Oh yeah, another one I've heard, try not to advance in your education. Don't go for your master's. Don't go for your PhD because you want to be able to be a wife and be a mother. It's ridiculous, but that's just my own personal opinion. But I think that a lot is wrong with that. And until we start to be more sensitive to these types of discussions, we cannot move forward. And I just find that a lot of times women are more attacked in society, right? So a man can get away with doing something in society, and a woman will have done the same thing, but she will be bashed, she will be crucified, and pretty much she would be in a lot of trouble doing the same thing that a man has done and gotten away with it. And the whole mentality that we live in a man's world is what I call a slavery mentality. It is not a mentality that can promote gender parity. It is not a mentality that is healthy for women. It's definitely not a mentality that is inspiring for women. And our young girls that are growing up are watching, they are listening, they are paying attention to what society is telling them. And if society is telling them that they're not good enough for something, they're not capable enough for something, we have a problem, and we need to start talking about these things. We really need to start addressing these issues. So going back to what I wrote, so I wrote about, you're not a stereotype, I'm not a stereotype. And what is a stereotype really? It's because we use that word all the time, right? So let's see what Google has to say. It says, it's a widely held but fixed and oversimplified image or idea of a particular person or thing. In this case, a person, right? So an idea that you have of what a woman should be or what she should not be is a stereotype, because at the end of the day, we're all human beings. We should be treated as human beings. We definitely should not be treated as, separate from society, or, a person that's not a male, right? So I think that at the end of the day, we should be treated as and seen as a human being, and it ends at that. It has nothing to do with gender. Our lives have nothing to do with gender. What we can accomplish has nothing to do with our gender. It should have nothing to do with our gender. The fact that I go to school to get a certain degree has nothing to do with my gender. I think at the end of the day, we need to promote gender parity more and recognize that a woman is just as good as a man. You know what I mean? So I think we should just get into that habit of having this discussion, pushing back when society tells us otherwise. We need to push back on these things, and we need to, stand our ground that, I would not allow society to tell me what I need to do or what I need to be validated. It's not gonna work. So let's see, I had written down some introduction and background about this lady that we went to the afternoon tea for in Boston. So let's go into the introduction, and we'll talk more about that. So Ida B. Wells is a lady that was born in 1862, and she passed in 1931. And this woman was a civil rights activist. She promoted women's rights. She spoke up. She did a lot of things back in the day when it was dangerous to speak up, when it was pretty much putting your life at stake to be able to stand up for other women. So let's dig into some of the things that she did. So she was an African American journalist and an early leader in the civil rights movement. And she was one of the founders of the NAACP, and what that means is the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. And she arguably at that time became the most famous Black woman in America, during a time that was filled with hate for Black people, especially towards women as well. And again, add women and Black together. You can imagine what the environment in which she had to speak up and thrive. So she did a lot of things and advocated a lot for the anti-lynching laws back in the day when white people used to lynch Black people. And she spoke up about it. She wrote about it. She got into trouble at some point because people and leaders at that time saw our content as very controversial. So they pretty much burned down her office that she was using to do her journalist work. And she went through a lot, but she pushed on. She persevered because she was trying to pass a message. So let's read on. She was also very she was at the forefront of helping women gain the right to vote. So at that time, women could not vote in certain states. Women could not hold property in certain states. And she was at the forefront of making sure that these laws change. She used her journalist work, her journalism, to promote justice, especially for Black people and Black women. So she was very inspirational. She was very inspiring, I should say. And it's definitely a legacy that she left, and that has carried through till 2019. So pretty much the whole idea is that at the end of the day, when we as women, when we speak up for something, when someone tells us what we don't believe is right and we speak up against it, we're not just speaking for ourselves, we're speaking for other women out there. So I wanted to talk about 3 things as I kind of close this chapter about you not being a stereotype, and I am not a stereotype either. The 3 things I want to talk about is impact, influence, and inspiration. As women, we need to inspire ourselves more. We need to inspire ourselves to do better, right? We need to motivate somebody else. We need to motivate another woman. We need to encourage another woman, not tear down another woman. We need to inspire one another. And at the end of the day, the way I see it, the young girls that are growing up are looking up to us, right? So whatever we allow, people that are looking up to us, girls that are looking up to us, will probably most likely allow the same thing. Whatever we push back on, they are watching and they will probably push back on the same thing. So let's make sure that we're inspiring the younger generation. Let's make sure that we're inspiring ourselves. Let's motivate each other to do what's right. Let's encourage one another to know what our worth is, right? And not allow anyone come and tell us otherwise. Another thing I want to talk about is influence, right? So impact and influence are very similar. Impact is having a direct contact with someone to the point that you're helping that person to do something. You're having an effect upon that person directly. Influence is the same thing, but it's taking it to another level. And influence is pretty much you're having an effect on someone, and that person is also doing the same for another. So you're influencing more people, you're reaching more people. And I think as women, we need to impact each other. We need to, influence each other, and we definitely need to inspire each other. So for example, let's encourage one another to be a better person. Let's encourage one another to grow in our careers. If you want to go back to school, you want to get your degree, you want to get your master's, you want to do something, you want to apply for a great job, a great role that society has kind of told us that only men can attain those roles, apply for that role. Apply for that role. Push yourself, challenge yourself, build character, be confident. As women, we need to be more confident. We need to be more assertive in who we are and in what we believe and what we stand for. So I think in all of these things, again, like I said, women empowerment is such a big topic that we will keep the conversation going. We'll continue to talk about certain things and certain issues that women face. But at this time, I just wanted to make us understand that we are not a stereotype. Okay, no matter what society tells us, we refuse to be a stereotype, and we will continue to walk in our purpose. We will push back when we need to push back. We will know our worth and be more cautious of it. We'll be very confident in who we are and what we stand for and what we can accomplish without allowing society to tell us otherwise. So I hope this inspires somebody out there. Again, it's a broad topic, and we will continue to talk about things that we need to talk about pretty much. So if you have any comments or if you have any suggestions, like I always say, please put it in the comment section below so we can discuss it, or we can, it's something to think about. And I hope to see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Please ensure to subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys. you.